Now the next thing is to take our motors and slide them onto the sides here. And I'm going to slide this. Oh, that one went on easier. Alright, there's that. One side is on. Let me see if I can do this sitting down on the table in this one. Let me see. I don't know if I can. I'm just going to go easy or hard. Oh, that one went on. And there we go. Okay, the motors are in place. Alright. Starting to come together, everybody. Okay guys, a little edit here. Stop. Rewind. I had to stop and go back and put 4 of these slider screws on one side. Okay, I hope that shows up on the camera. It's getting darker. Okay, there's 4 of these slider screws here on one side. Why is that not showing up on camera? And I have 2 on the other side. Okay, and the reason for that will be clearly seen when we proceed. Just know that at this point, when you're putting the frame together, make sure you have 4 on one side and 2 on the other of these screws, these slider screws. Okay? Now your last 4 blocks, stop blocks, go in place here. Okay guys, when you're putting on the rails here, okay, I have to watch the assembly video on the internet because it's not in the instructions. It says install belt, but it doesn't say a thing about where or how. So what you do is when you're putting on these rails, feed your belt through the stopper here a little ways, and then refasten this down in place. This acts as a stopper and also a belt tension. It puts tension on the belt and stops it from, there we go, get that straight in there, stops the belt from slipping. That locks it in there. So get that in there, and that feeds down inside your rail. Okay, nice and snug. Now, I see I have to adjust my motor shaft. I also did see they did that in their assembly video as well, because now what you have to do, you bring it down underneath the rails and up through here. Underneath the wheel. Feed that belt on through. Okay, and then it has to go up over the motor. So I have to adjust the motor shaft. Okay, so we'll be back in a minute here. I gotta adjust that. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to show you what I have going on here. I don't know if you can see here. I've got the belt sticking on here, okay, running along the shaft, under the wheel, over the motor gear, under the wheel, and over to the other side. Now, right now what I'm doing is I'm spinning the motor shaft, and it'll actually turn the assembly here, alright, and I want to see that I want to make sure that I have the belt, the gear, lined up and centered on here. Okay, now I'm going to tighten it. Tighten the gear back up on the motor. I can spin that, and as I do, you see that the machine is turning, so it is doing its job now on that rail. I am just holding the belt on the other side with my thumb. I still have to put tension on it and do the final adjustment on the belt on the other side, okay? So we spin back around over here. Remove this corner piece. Okay, now get the belt straight. I have to feed the belt through this piece all the way, right, until this piece fits over in here. Oops, I put it backwards. Turn it around. Feed the belt all the way on, all the way. Make sure your cat doesn't play with it on the floor down there. Felix is trying to get it. Alright, now put this screw in here. And I still have to put tension on the belt. Okay? Oh, Felix, I know you're cute. So, make sure that the belt has proper tension. Motor turns, rail slides. Okay, make sure there's no excess, not too much slack in there. It feels good to me right now. So I'm going to tighten this down, and that should lock that belt into place down below that screw down here. Okay, now that should not move anymore. Alright, this slides. Good. Okay. Now, you cut it. There you go. And do the same on the other side. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now, we put the feet on. The legs. And put the screw in here to make it easier and slide it into that sliding screw or nut first, otherwise you'll never get it in line. Okay, get that in there, and then put the other two in there where they go. The other two screws in place here in the ends. And that's your feet there. It's a really, really nice looking piece of work. We can lock that in. Tighten them down, just snug. Alright. And the next get a screw over here. Get that in there. And slide them in place. And we'll put the other screws in here. Attaching the other foot. And alright, then I'll tighten it up and I'll do the other side. And we'll be back in a minute. Hey guys. Alright, the next step is this piece is going up in here with 4 of the M5 by 12 screws. So I'm going to turn my work sideways so I can do this. Make sure that your your grooved cutouts are down, okay, according to the instructions. And let's see, I have to decide which way. So the motor is going to face where I have those other two screws over here according to the instructions. And slide this up into here. Put them in finger tight so I have room for adjusting, because these have to line up. I'm going to line up the other one on the other side here. Again, finger tight only, or not even finger tight, just loose, so that you can adjust this. Now I'm going to bring it all the way to this back rail, to the bumpers, alright? So that I can tighten these without any stress on anything, okay? Now I can tighten it down, knowing that these are lined up, alright? I want to make sure that everything's lined up nicely before I put any torque on this. Tightening the screws on the back side. And on the front side, whichever side you want to call front or back. I'm calling it based on the camera. Okay. Now, it appears that there's only one more step left in this. Oh, two more steps. There's putting together the circuit board holder, the electronics, and the mounting it to the frame. So I'm going to go through and put one in here, and then I've got the nylon's little white spacers. Okay, so I've got 4 M3x14s, 4 white spacers, 4 silver threaded spacers, and it's supposed to be 4 M3x10s. So I'm going to put a nylon spacer, put all 4 screws in, the M3x14s. Let's see if I can turn this upside down without dropping any screws. Good, we did. Okay, put the spacers on. Now we put the circuit board on. Alright, dropped it into place. Then put on the metal spacers. Okay. Just get them on to, just snug for now, if they'll comply. That one's spinning. Okay, get them snug. Now we certainly don't want to torque these down tight. Alright, so I'm just going to probably finger tighten these only. Tight with the finger, but get them on there finger tight, okay? I'm not going to snug them down hard, because we don't want to damage that circuit board, okay? There's that so far, alright? There's the circuit board. Now the next part is the front cover. No big deal. Now this makes a difference. There's a reset switch, I believe it is. There's a switch on here. There's a USB port over here. And there's 2 adjustable, I believe, capacitors there. So we want this so that the, so you can see, I don't have enough light in this angle, do I? You can see the red circuit boards in here. And put them in there, okay? I'm going to put one on opposite corners to hold that in place. I want to tighten that down sort of snug. Okay, not too tight. Alright, there's the circuit board. Now the next step is to mount that on the frame. So we're going to bring this, put this aside, bring the machine back over here. Okay. And then the circuit board goes on with 2 M5x10s, if I remember right. Yes. Onto the frame here with all the plugs in an upwards position. All the connectors pointing upwards. Okay. So we've got these slider screws on here. This is going to be fun trying to get this lined up. So I'm going to go ahead and do the one farthest from me first. Get the screws through there and get it into the sliders. Yeah, this is awkward. Trying to show you on camera. I'm trying to keep my head out of your way. But it makes it awkward for me. Okay, I think I got it in there. Yep, good. And then we'll get the other one if I can find him here. Alright, just slide him out. Okay. Get that in there. And in a minute we'll center the circuit board on the frame of this device before I tighten it down. Okay. That'll make it look pretty. Center it. I'm trying to line it up with the camera without blocking the camera, so I can always change that later if I don't like where it looks or how it looks. Alright, I'm not really torquing that down hard, just a little bit snug. There we go. Okay, and that is the end of the instructions. Okay, the instruction manual ends at 12. So I have to figure out where all the wires go, and here's all the wires. Okay, so there's all the wires. Now I have to figure out where they all go. There's three different wires. One is shorter, and the two long ones are matching. And there's a narrower plug end and a wider end on these. Okay, the wider end goes into the motor, so we'll plug it on into the motor over here. Hope you can see what I'm doing. It goes only in one way, which is convenient. You can't mess it up. That plugs into the motor. Okay. And we'll do the same on the other side. I'm going to lift it up and plug it in on the motor. Then the one for the laser is a little bit shorter. Okay, so that's going to go here. And it only goes one way. Okay, and that'll run on over the top like this. Alright. Got all my wires here. Okay, I have the laser module here. Alright, laser pointing down. And this just slides into the rack. This is a really simple and cool device. Really quick setup and swapping of your laser. You got the thumb screws here. And then the laser slips on down through here. And you can adjust your height as needed. Alright. And then tighten the thumb screws down into the rails of the laser device, or the laser module. Okay, it took me some time to figure out. Underneath the cover on the circuit board is the labels for where the motors plug in. So there's, I had to get a flashlight and lift it up and look here. Here's the X axis, which would be, this is the X, which would be then the drive motor for the laser. And this goes only one way, very easy. Plug it in firmly. And then there's two Y connections. It only goes in one way. So that's the other two motors. So everything's labeled nice and neat. We just gotta figure out where everything's labeled. No big deal. There's a protective wire wrap, which I'll put on in a minute. And there's the laser wire. Make sure, are they the same? Yeah, it looks like the same. So that'll go in here to the laser. And then the one marked laser and then there's another motor one here, so I think that's the CNC connection. There's a servo and a CNC. So this board has expansion capabilities. So there's all the wires, and I'm going to run these all neatly together up here so they're all protected, and we'll be back in a minute. Okay guys, there's the wiring, nice and beautiful. Okay, and just to make sure everything works, slide this back and forth all the way to the max stop. Make sure the wires are all okay here. Slide it all the way this way. If you move it quickly, I notice these are obviously motors, DC motors, and they will generate electricity. If you watch the red light on here, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, if I move this quicker, it backfeeds electricity into the system, and that light comes on. Anyway, all the way forward, and this is a convenient thing. It protects the wire very well throughout the whole range of motion. Okay, and then this one is very stiff. It's hard to move, this rail. I hope it'll be fine. I want to make sure it has a full range of motion right and left. Okay, all the wires are free and loose. Everything works. This one's very stiff. Do hope that's going to be fine. Maybe it's because it's smaller and I don't have as much to grip on. Okay, now I'm going to look for the software and download it and connect it to the computer and see what happens. Hey guys, this is my first attempt at burning an image. There's a lot of smoke because I'm working on a piece of cardboard, and it looks like the camera can't handle the laser. Camera can't handle it. I wonder what happens. I'm going to turn my head away and put the... Oh, look at that. The glasses make a difference for the camera as well as my eyes. How cool is that? So I'm looking through the camera, protecting my eyes by looking through the camera. Anyway, let me put that back in my face. My first attempt at an image. So we'll let it go and see how it works. It's a bigger image. I didn't realize what I'm doing here. I'm just experimenting. I went with 100% size settings. I'm experimenting to see what I get here.
Cool.
Look at that, guys. Melanie's up there looking at it, and I'm across the living room with the camera zoomed. That just looks so cool. That laser is intense, and it just lights up the room. It lights up the ceiling blue. That is bright. I can't look at it because Melanie's got the goggles. Melanie's standing there watching. Where's Melanie? There she is. That is cool. It's pretty when it's running.
I want to see when it's finished.
Yeah, we will.
Alfred